Welcome to the Black Educated Tea podcast where we have conversations on how Black women navigate through life and education. I'm your host, Makeda Marie. I'm a life coach and strategic consultant. In this safe space and in this podcast, we have conversations on how we balance and navigate through life, education, corporate America, entrepreneurship, motherhood, love, just so many topics. It's just endless. Please join us for the Black Educated Tea podcast so you can be a part of these magnificent conversations. Welcome to the Black Educated Tea podcast. I'm your host, Makeda Marie, and today's topic is phases. But as always, before we get into the tea, let's get into the tea. So I'm actually drinking a Jade Citrus mint, and it has spearmint leaves, it has green tea, and it has chamomile in it. And usually when I do my teas, they don't have caffeine in it, but green tea does have a little bit of caffeine in it. But it's a really good minty, sweet tea. So that is what I'm drinking today, a Jade Citrus mint. So let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand, phases. So I actually have a shirt on today. And my shirt reads, just like the moon, I go through phases. And when I saw this shirt, I really liked it. Of course, I like the different phases of the moon. But then I just like the statement as well. Just like the moon, we all go through phases in life. And I'm not necessarily sure. Maybe I'm in my second phase in life. I'll say that. I remember a couple of months back when I was hosting a brunch. And there was a lady there. I think she said she was like in her third phase in life. And I never really just thought about it like that. I was like, I think we all have those different phases in life. So maybe I'm at my second phase right now, maybe kind of moving on to the third phase. But I think I'm maybe definitely in my second phase in life right now. Because I have no problem telling my age. At 37, there's no way I should still be in phase one. Just being real. Phase one probably was like, of course, from newborn to maybe my early 20s. There should have been phase one. So at 37, I should definitely still not be in phase one in my life. But I definitely feel like I'm in phase two of my life. And when I say that, because I'm beginning to find peace, I'm beginning to find the things that I love. I'm finding out who I am as well. And I think in phase one, it's kind of like that foundational stage where you're just, navigating through life and you're trying to figure out who, what, when, where. You're just trying to figure out who you are, what do you want to be, what do you want to do. So you're just trying to answer so many questions in that phase one of life. I think, for phase two, all of this is opinion based. As well. I think for phase two in life, you're starting to answer those questions. You're starting to figure out, who are you? What do you like to do? So you're starting to answer those questions in phase two of life. So you're answering the questions while also putting action behind it. So I think that's what it looks like for me for phase two. I'm figuring out who I am, what I like, what I don't like, what do I want to do. For years, I wanted to teach. My whole background is education. So for years, even as a young girl, I had a chalkboard. So for years, I thought I wanted to teach. And, that was, you couldn't tell me anything else. Someone would have said, well, what about nursing and engineering? Nope, I thought I wanted to teach. I really thought I wanted to teach. And so as I got into the field, I was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to teach now. But that's okay, because you can always change careers. You can always change your mind. And so I thought I wanted to teach. But as I got into it, I was like, I don't think this is necessarily what I want to do. But one thing I will say about that, education is still my passion. So education is still something that I really love to do. Anytime I can, I always find ways to get immersed in education, whether it's from tutoring, mentoring, because I do have my nonprofit, Our Kids, Our Future, and so I always do mentoring, tutoring. So I always find ways to get back into education, but I think, I realize teaching is just not necessarily for me, but I am a livid, I think I'm going to be a lifelong learner, of course, so I'm always going to find ways to get back into what I love, which is education, just not necessarily in the classroom. So I think I'm in phase two. in my life. And what phase are you at in your life? Do you even know? Are you in phase 2 or phase 3? Or are you transitioning from one phase to the next, just as the moon does? We all have phases in our life. And then another thing, I think I'm also in the awakening stage. I think I'm in the awakening phase of my life as well, because I've had, so many things that's been brought to my attention as I start looking more into it and doing more research. I think I'm in an awakening stage as well. So I think I'm starting to become awakened to so many different things that were dormant in me. So it was there, but now it's starting to come out. So I think I'm in an awakening phase as well. And you can have a lot of different phases in your life that you can be going through. So I think I'm in that knowing who I am phase, that awakening phase, becoming more vocal phase. So I'm probably going through like 10 different phases right now. So, there is no such thing as, I'm just going through a transitional phase. Because you are going through a transitional phase, but what does that entail? Does it entail awakening? Does it entail being more vocal? Does it entail being more peace within yourself, knowing who you are? What does that transitional phase look like? And what does it entail? It's like when the moon goes through phases, the colors may change, the energy, the vibes we get from it change. So what are the things that entail what your phases are? But I think I'm definitely in phase 2 in my life. I am really excited and ecstatic for what phase 3 is going to look like. But I would really just love to hear and for you all to share your comments on what phase you are in your life. Because, just as the moon, we all go through phases, So are you in that dark phase where, you're in that dark moment, but you know that there's light after that tunnel, because I think a lot of us go through that dark phase. And I've definitely went through that dark phase. And I didn't know how to get out of it, what was next. But I knew you can see the light. You can see the light at the end of that tunnel, but you're reaching forward. You're trying to grab it in any way possible because you're trying to get out of that sinkhole and that dark hole. But one thing about that dark hole, there's always light that's coming. So if you are in that phase, and I have been in that phase where you're in that dark hole, you're in that dark spot, just keep going. Just keep striving, because there is light at the end of that tunnel. And then you will hit that awakening moment, or whatever moment it is for you. And it will bring so much joy and happiness to your life once you get out of that state. But we all have to go through phases. That's how we grow. That's how we mature. That's how we improve. That's how we become better us when we do go through those different phases. And if you are not going through phases, I don't know if you're doing something right. I'm just going to be honest. If you have not went through phases in your life, that means you are very stagnant. That means you are not growing. Anything that grows has to go through a phase. When you look at your plants, or even your kids, as they continue to grow and get taller, they're going through phases. As your plant continues to grow and get longer and taller, greener, or whatever color, it has to go through phases. So in order for anything to improve and change and bloom into what it's supposed to be, it has to go through phases. So if you're not going through phases, you're a little stagnant. You might not be doing something right. So you might need to start changing and reprogramming some things to get through those phases and to bloom and to definitely just become a better you. Like I say, I am in several different phases. I'm in the second phase of my life, I would say, but it entails so many different things: the awakening, the knowing who I am, what I want, what I don't want, becoming more vocal, finding my peace, and just finding different things in life that brings me joy, whether it's from skating, whether it's being out in nature, whether it's reading. So, I'm embracing a lot of different things. So my second phase details so many different things. So there's not just one thing I can say that is helping me to progress through phase 2. And I'm looking forward to phase 3, phase 4, whatever many other phases that I may go through. And I may even be in phase 3. Who knows? I just kind of feel like I'm in phase 2 of my life now. Phase 1 was all about trying to figure out who I am. I just had so many questions, and now I feel like those questions are starting to be answered. So that's why I consider myself to be in phase 2. But I would love to, hear your comments, your thoughts on what phases of life you are in, and how the moon also influences you to know these different phases. Because, we've had so many different moons going on, the strawberry moon, and I'm still learning about all the phases of the moon myself. I've actually started taking classes and reading up on, if it's the Capricorn moon or the Libra moon. I don't know, because I'm still learning. I'm still learning. If it's the strawberry moon, if it's the full moon, I'm still learning. But I do want to do an episode on that as well, where we just talk about the different phases of the moon and what it means to us and our energy, because that is really important, especially because there's been a lot of chaos going on, and it may definitely well be the energies that are surrounding us. So definitely want to do an episode on that, but I'm going to bring someone that's a lot more detailed and a lot more knowledgeable than I am on it. So I want you to definitely stay tuned for that. But please share your comments and just give me any details on how you're going throughout the phases in your life and what that looks like for you as well. And as always, this is the Black Educated Tea Podcast.